Hello and welcome to another live stream. And I'm going to kick straight in and get Glenn in the room with me because he's here as always. Hello, Glenn. How are you doing?
Hello, I'm all right. You?
Yeah, I'm quite good. Quite good.
Good.
Good to have you here again, as always.
Nice to be here as always.
Got a few in the room already, dropping some comments in. We've got Jeremy's with us again. Hello, Jeremy.
Hello, Jeremy.
Supporting us there as well. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, hit the notification button, and Patreon. We've got Slipknot fan with us. Good evening, Slipknot fan. Hope you're well. And with us again, Anthony Lipiello. Hello, Anthony. Good to have you here.
Good afternoon.
Was it early morning where Anthony's located? Was it out in the US somewhere? It's quite early morning. I can't remember.
Jeremy's the same, isn't he? Jeremy's Florida, I want to say.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that.
I'm going to kick off with you, Glenn, and I'm going to talk honestly with you. I nearly didn't do the live stream today.
Going to talk honestly with you. You're fired. You're not doing these live streams anymore.
I nearly didn't do the live today. I wasn't feeling it. I feel exhausted. And I just fancied firing up the PlayStation, getting some gaming done, and just laying loose. Because my head is clouded at the moment. I've been doing a course at work, and it's keeping busy. It's keeping my head engaged. And I can't seem to focus or think about other things outside of this course. And it's quite intense, and I'm ready for a bit of a rest. So, yeah.
Let's wind this up then. Okay, guys, thanks for joining us. And
I didn't really prepare much in the way of slides. I was being lazy, and because I felt tired, there's not many slides. But the good news is that we're both here, and we're both going to do a little bit of something. So, time for celebration.
Hey, celebrate good.
Anthony is based in, Florida.
And yeah, well, I thought I was, so Jeremy and Anthony are both Florida. Is that right?
2:31 in the afternoon, by the sounds of it. So, yeah. So, topic for our general, I've got another hello just before I jump into topic. Ridley Cinema is with us as well. Glad to catch another stream. Glad to have you here, Ridley Cinema. It's all good. We're going quite far back today. We're not on sort of the latest releases as such at the moment. I wanted to talk about our movie fandom. Where did it start? Because we are big movie fans, and it feels like it's something that's followed us. I don't know about. I think for you anyway. I didn't meet you till a bit later, but I think it's something that's followed all through our lives. I was thinking back, what was my earliest film memory? What got me hooked on movies before I started collecting? What gave me that fandom to follow them all up and then start this collecting habit and want them all? And I was thinking back, and yeah, can you remember quite far back from when you started watching movies or any early memories of movies?
I do have a no then. I mean, the films that obviously our generation, the things that kind of stand out are, you know, things like Star Wars and Raiders of the Lost Ark was my thing. My bedroom was just Star Wars and Indiana Jones and that kind of thing. Early memories, my dad was quite a film fan, so I remember watching things with him. I remember he was the one that introduced me to horror as well. It was
really,
I was like the Hammer horror films, Christopher Lee as Dracula and things like that.
Yeah,
I remember probably going into too much detail, but my mum was on some works kind of Christmas do or something like that, and we were having to go and pick her up. And I was still fairly young. I remember I fell asleep on the floor, but at the time, we were watching one of the Christopher Lee Dracula movies. So my dad was always a fan. He had LPs of like all of the war film themes and all that kind of stuff. So I think he was probably my introduction into films because he loved it. Yeah. I was having a conversation with somebody yesterday because obviously the football's on at the moment over here. And I think if your parents, especially your father normally, is into football, I think you probably follow suit. So I think you don't always realise it, but I think you are Can't think of the word. Influence. Yeah. Influenced by what your parents are into. I think you end up kind of following that way, don't you?
No, I don't think my parents are ever massive into movies.
Yours was escapism, though, because you were
I was going to get into that later.
Mistreated as a child. I mean,
putting on that later.
Yeah.
No, I do remember quite far back, and my dad was a TV and video engineer, so he always had TVs in the kitchen on the table, and he was always fixing things for someone, whether old CRT TV or video player. And one of my earliest memories was going to the workshop where he worked, and him and his mate, another guy that he worked with, they were fixing up the video players and things like that. And I know they'd fixed a video player and had the Betamax of Dark Crystal, and that sort of caught my attention as such. That imagery sort of stuck in my mind for a long time. I must have been about 6 or something when they showed that, and had Dark Crystal on Betamax, and that sort of stuck with me a little bit. But it wasn't until we were a bit older that we really started getting regular with movies and things like that. I mean, there was obviously Star Wars and things, but I remember there was a certain patch of time, the guy that my dad worked with, he went through a divorce, and he had kids that were similar age to me and my sister. And really, a man of that sort of age and that sort of industry, and just the type of person he was, he didn't know how to relate to his kids. He didn't know what to do with his kids when he had visitation. So it used to be that when he had the kids, he'd come and pick up me and my sister, and we would play together, but he would always want to take them somewhere. So it was always the cinema. So he would take his kids and us to the cinema literally every week, every other week. And if it wasn't the cinema, we were in a video shop picking videos to take back and watch around at his place. So every week it was like movie. And it sort of became a habit, and I started loving movies because of that. And that's the earliest sort of memories that I've got. I mean, seeing Home Alone at the cinema and things like that, Three Men and a Little Lady, I saw at the cinema, and there was a lot of trash that I saw, and I loved it each and every time. I loved the experience of the cinema. I loved going, and it felt special.
Yeah, we rented videos every Friday night, because Friday night was, as it is for a lot of people in the UK, I think, Friday night is fish and chip night, and we'd go to a certain fish and chip shop. The video shop was right next door. We'd rent some bits for the Friday night, the Saturday night, whatever. So we always did that on a regular basis. There was always films knocking around.
See, we never really had that either. We went to the video shop a lot, but there was never a sort of rigid routine when we'd go or anything. It was kind of not spare at the moment, but not regular like I would come to expect it every Friday night kind of thing. It was here and there, not massively there. But they were the sort of really early memories that I've got of the video store. But
yeah, that's how I always remember. It was always 9 times out of 10, I'd go to the cinema with my dad, because my dad, like I say, was really into film. I remember seeing Rocky IV with him at the ABC on London Road, and everybody was getting like really animated during the film and what have you, and everybody was like totally behind Rocky. And I remember that as a real that's a real nice memory of spending time with him for that. And we did the original Star Wars trilogy back to back as well.
Yeah.
And he took me to that. So yeah, very kind of early memories.
Yeah.
But it's just I've never not watched films.
They're special memories as well that you've got with your dad, that it's the things that you remember that have that lasting impact through life as well.
Yeah, totally.
So, sorry, I'm going to jump into
all right, let's go to comments. Come on.
There we go. I'm diving back a bit now, but Jeremy talking Furiosa. Why does Furiosa feel like it's just here's the Mad Maz universe?
I think it means Max. I think that's a typo.
Yeah, and an average day's night with a side of references you might like. I've not seen it yet, so
no, I've not seen it yet either. So spoiler warning, Jeremy.
Yeah, on locations, we're talking time locations. Anthony's Florida, Jeremy is New York, so same sort of time band, but a million miles away. Well, not a million, but you know what I mean.
Technically, no. But
yeah. And Glenn, you look like Bad Raven on YouTube, and it confuses Ridley Cinema.
Okay, I don't know who Bad Raven is.
I'll tell you who.
I'm googling Bad Raven.
Glenn does look like. Glenn used to get not wound up. People used to comment that he looked very much like John Landis at a point as well. And there's certain people that used to take joy in reminding him that John Landis was a Glenn lookalike for a while.
Yeah, well, there's a picture of me and John Landis because I met him at San Diego Comic-Con, and I showed somebody that, and straight away they went, "Oh, is that your dad?" No, that's John Landis, who directed American Werewolf in London. Who was I supposedly looking like? Did you say Black Raven?
Bad Raven.
Bad Raven. Sorry.
Yeah.
Keep looking at the comments.
It's a girl. No, not really. Bad Raven girl. Come on, Glenn. Put it up. Put it in the next.
Bad Raven. Ah, it's a grey-haired man with a beard. Brilliant.
Stereotype. Following up for Ridley Cinema, it was mom, dad, 5 boys during movie night. If you were lucky, you got a seat on the couch. If not, pull up some carpet.
Pull up some carpet, yeah.
That was we used to pull the cushions off the sofas and have a blanket. And I remember if it was a movie night and we'd rented something, me and my sister were allowed a bag of crisps and a bar of chocolate, and we'd set up the cushions on the floor, sit and watch it, and we'd have our crisps and our chocolate to watch a movie with.
I remember as a young kid, I had a beanbag that I would sit in front of the telly, but I was the stereotypical kid that sits cross-legged in front of the telly, just totally absorbed in what they're watching. It was just love it.
Lynn, you two are so cute.
Ah, we are. It's true. We're adorable.
I know. Jeremy, my grandfather had a huge VHS collection of stuff, wall-to-wall, Universal Horror, Hammer Films, Abbott and Costello, John Wayne, tons of sci-fi, Laurel and Hardy, Chaplin, and tons of horror.
Well, your grandfather was awesome by the sounds of it, because what a collection of stuff.
Yeah, I remember one set of grandparents that we had. It was just my granddad's video. It had some videos, and it was generally just John Wayne stuff, and that's it. It's John Wayne or nothing. Might be the occasional Western-themed musical, but it's all Westerns, all John Wayne, and I didn't care for it at the time, so I never watched it. My other grandparents, my grandma, my cousin lived with her, so he had quite a large collection of VHS, and I remember a lot of that being sort of the old B horror movies and stuff like that. He had like the Blob, Warriors, Night of the Creeps, and that kind of stuff was on his shelf as well. And it was actually because of him that we got to see RoboCop from a very young age. One of my VHS memories was some friends came round, another family came round, and they'd rented a video, and they'd got RoboCop with them, so we were going to all sit and watch it together. And we started watching it. Ed Turnine blows the guy away, and my parents were like, all right, we'll see how it carries on. And then obviously about 10 minutes later, you get Murphy being absolutely destroyed by the gang. And it was at that point my parents were just like, no, my kids are not watching this, so no more RoboCop. You're not watching RoboCop. It's too violent. That's it. So they saved it, and they all went away and watched it some other night after they'd been around 2 hours. 2 weeks later, my grandma was looking after us, and Stephen's got RoboCop on video. Let me get it for you. And she literally put it on for us and let us watch the entirety of RoboCop in an afternoon, literally 2 weeks after my parents said, not watching it. And that was quite good. My grandma just had no concept of the level of violence she was doing an 11-year-old.
I've always been quite a boring, level-headed person, even as a child. So my parents were quite open. Obviously, like I said, I'd watch the Hammer horrors and things like that. I used to love the Universal monster movies. And my first film into kind of watching more modern horror was randomly Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2, Freddy's Revenge. Right. because I'd always wanted to start. I feel like I'd picked up like a couple of copies of Fangoria and maybe Gore Zone and things like that. So I was already reading about modern horror, and my parents said, "Oh, okay." I can't remember how old I was. I was quite young. I bet I was about 12, maybe something like that. And we actually went to go and rent the first Nightmare on Elm Street, but it was out. Somebody had already rented it. So I ended up with Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge, as my first, whatever the word is, foray.
I'm surprised he kept. I was going to say I'm surprised he carried on with the franchise, but it's a strange introduction to Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah, but I mean, going from, like I say, the Hammer stuff and the Universal stuff to suddenly kind of Freddy Krueger in any way, shape, or form was kind of really eye-opening. And I remember the first one when it came out on VHS. It had the Graham Humphreys blue and silvery kind of artwork on the video box and what have you. And every year, my grandma would stick like £10 in a Christmas card or whatever, and instead this certain year she said, "Is there anything you actually want?" So my grandma bought me Nightmare on Elm Street on VHS. That was
how old was you?
Like I said, I must have been I bet I was about 12.
Yeah, I don't watch Nightmare on Elm Street till a little bit later. We watched it at school. I always
was part of an assembly.
Yeah, no, my form room was up in the music block, and they had the big CRT TVs on the trolleys with the video players in that they'd show things on every now and again in the music block for whatever reason, but they kept leaving it out in our form room. So one of the girls brought Nightmare on Elm Street in, and we watched that over about 3 lunchtimes at school. It was pretty good. Ridley Cinema. I remember my dad fast forwarding through the shower scene from Stripes when he first showed it to us.
Yeah, I bet your dad never actually did that unless you were there.
Yeah, I remember certain scenes being flicked through when watching films with my parents, but I can't recall what film exactly. But it's just like, right, just fast forward in this part. It's just talking. You wouldn't be interested. It's just talking.
It's just talking. Yeah, they're talking with no clothes on. It's fine. Yeah. They're deep in conversation. For God's sake, fast forward.
Jeremy used to rent videos and order pizza every Friday.
Yeah.
That's the difference. Americans order pizza, we get fish and chips.
Yeah, it's the go-to thing.
Ridley Cinema. My dad was a big Western fan. We probably watched Silverado 100 times.
I feel like, is that like a slight comedy Western Kevin Kline? Have I imagined that completely?
I think you're imagining it.
Keep going, Phil. I'm going to IMDb.
You have a look. I'm not sure on Silverado. I'm not sure. My dad used to favour Good, Bad and the Ugly and Clint Eastwood style ones. That's what he tended to go for. Coming from Daz. Welcome to the stream, Daz. My dad used to get all the dodgy horrors from the back of a bloke's van. Give me and my brothers the tapes. Then mum and dad would go out and leave us at home with the movies.
Oh, the memories.
Excellent.
Yeah, Silverado was Kevin Kline. It was an action comedy.
There we go. You were right.
I was right. It's a miracle.
Memory's not failing as bad as you think.
Mm.
Big Jace is with us. Hello, Big Jace. Good to see you. Slipknot fan with the support. Smash that like button, people. Thank you, Slipknot fan. Big Jace's story. Here we go. Growing up, I watched films on TV with my family. Then, when I was a little older, my cousins took me. My first Bond film at the cinema was Moonraker.
Moonraker, nice.
I can't remember my first Bond film at the cinema. I think it might have been when I was just old enough to go on my own. I don't think we ever went there.
I think my first one at the cinema wasn't probably until... Now then. It might have been The Living Daylights. Timothy Dalton, I think. First one at the cinema was probably Living Daylights, yeah.
I remember if there were franchises my parents would go for to take us to, it would have been Indiana Jones, I would say, for instance, Back to the Future, and the bigger franchises, Star Trek.
Yeah.
I went to see a few of those at the cinema with my parents as well. I remember definitely the Undiscovered Country we went to see. So So I'm going to move that a little bit. I'm getting some glare.
I remember we were on holiday on the south coast, and Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom and Supergirl came out on the same day, or it was around the same time. But either they were both out when we were down there, and we hadn't seen either. And where we were holidaying had a real flea pit of a cinema that was really rubbish. And my dad said, "I'm not watching Temple of Doom there. We'll watch Supergirl." That's fine. So we saw Supergirl in something like some Weymouth theatre, something or other. And it was a pit. It really was. And we waited, and the following week watched Temple of Doom when we came back home.
Jeremy was raised by the telly. I think a lot of us were, in a way.
Yeah, to a degree, yeah.
Yeah. Ridley Cinema. Remember, my dad would rewind Part Space Ventura 2 or 3 times because we couldn't stop laughing. Big J's first horror film as a kid was Evil Dead.
Oh, what an entry into into watching horror films, Evil Dead.
That's the way to do it.
Amazing.
Dad, I was 12 years old when we watched The Thing. I was shocked, scared, and in awe. Still one of the few movies that I can watch again and again. Practical effects do it for me.
Yeah, and they still stand up so strong when you watch them. It's amazing.
That's it. I agree. Jeremy's first celebrity crush was Bride of Frankenstein. Speaks volumes as I've got older.
Elsa Lanchester? I do have a model of her.
There we go. Yep, does.
Yeah.
There we go.
I'm just going to stand. You're going to see my jogging bottoms, and I don't care.
Ridley Cinema. I was the youngest of the bunch. When my brothers got old enough for hard R-rated movies, I was left out of some movie nights. My parents did their best to make sure we were ready for certain material.
Oh, I've gone very bright. So bright. Why am I so bright? Stop being bright. Go dim. It's going dimmer. Getting dimmer. Oh, look at you light show. So yeah, there's Elsa Lanchester, lot. Bride of Frankenstein. Ooh, Jeremy. Ooh, Jeremy.
Ridley Cinema. A lot of parents don't seem to pay any attention to ratings anymore, and you wonder why the youth is so warped. I agree, and that goes for computer games as well. The amount of arguments I get from my kids about why they can't play Fortnite is ridiculous. And it's not just the rating of the game either; it's the language and everything that they get through the headsets or anything like that. It's just awful, in my opinion. Anyway, moving back, we're going to move time on a little bit because we're about where did our movie fandom start and how. I forgot the title. What's the title of my video?
We're so professional.
Yeah, I know. So we're both movie fans through growing up, and then it led to a point where we kind of met each other, and that was working in a video shop.
It was in Blockbuster.
At Blockbuster. So that kind of fed our movie fandom more so because we used to wind each other up a lot about movies and probably dig at each other's choices, hang out, chat movies, etc., etc. How was your time at Blockbuster?
I actually really liked it, to be honest. And most of the people I worked with, I really liked. There was the odd one like you, who were just annoying and really clingy, really clingy. Still not managed to shake you yet. No, I used to really enjoy it, and my favourite thing was it wasn't the store we worked at. I worked at 2 different stores, but I always worked a Friday night at this other store. And it was great because people would come in and they'd want to hear opinions on films and things like that. And you'd get all your regular customers coming in on a Friday night. And you'd recommend something one week and then you'd see them the following week and you could chat to them about it. And did you like it? Oh, if you like that, then you'll love this. And I was in my element. I was surrounded by films. And we obviously got cheap rentals as well. Well, we got free rentals, didn't we?
I think we've got 5 a week.
Yeah, something like that.
Officially.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I think sometimes it's a certain rite of passage for the movie fan to have worked in some kind of video store or had some kind of relationship to someone that ran a video store or anything like that. It's just a rite of passage. You're always in there, always chatting. And even when I didn't work in there, I had friends that worked in there because I used to linger around chatting to them all the time about films and trying to just show my opinion. I don't know why I did it. I'd always end up chatting to them about the films and just lingering around for a lot longer than I should have.
Your cousin worked there as well, didn't he?
Yeah. He worked at a different branch.
Yeah.
But I loved it. I loved, like you say, being able to go through the shelves, and it wasn't just obviously the working and renting things out and renting things to customers, but you were able to discover so much more because if you had a few minutes spare, we literally used to read the cases of the VHS art and look at who directed it, who stars in it, look at the pictures, and just browse like that.
Did you ever come away with any like posters and things like that?
No.
I wasn't sure whether I did or not, but I don't think we actually got that many through, did we?
No, they were could use. I think a lot of them were claimed or just got binned by an overzealous assistant manager that was having a clear out.
Although I did get those when the Star Wars trilogy was re-released on VHS.
Yeah.
And I got them that I sold to that guy at Mel's Collectibles. Yeah.
The collectibles that you collected and stored up in the attic for many a year.
Stored in my mum's attic for very, very, very long time. But yes, recently moved on. But yeah.
And it was from Blockbuster that we sort of became friends, and we didn't really have anyone else that shared our interest as such. So we started organising a night to go to the cinema to see a release. And I don't know what film it was that sort of sparked that off, but it sparked in a tradition and a routine that once a week we would meet up, we would watch a movie, and we'd go to McDonald's and sit and have a burger and chat about it.
The film, yeah. No, we were both on I think we both had friends that liked films and stuff, but we were just on a different obsessive level kind of thing, really. You know, I remember when Reservoir Dogs, like I say, came out, and it was a midnight showing. Nobody else was interested. Nobody else knew what I was on about, saying about, Quentin Tarantino and stuff. He's done this film. Oh, I don't know what you're on about. So nobody was interested. So I ended up going on my own to like a midnight showing and what have you. I didn't know you at that point, but that's the kind of thing that I'd have said to you. It was a midnight showing of Reservoir Dogs, and you'd have been, I'm in, let's do it. We were kind of on that different, like I say, obsessive level, weren't we? So
yeah, and it was an obsessive level. I mean, before, or it might have been at the same time as working at Blockbuster, I used to work at a travel agency as well. And it was that quiet in the travel agency that I used to go out every sort of lunchtime. I'd buy a film magazine and I'd read through it while I was meant to be working, and I'd bring them into Blockbuster, and I think you'd be impressed. It's like, oh, Hot Dog magazine, what's that? That's a new one, isn't it? And or was it Neon or something like that? I remember bringing the magazine.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and
it's obviously Empire Total Film premiere as well.
Yeah, and it did get obsessive.
Yeah,
and this is where it probably did change my life a little bit. I mean, I've put on the thumbnail. I'll get into that. I've put on the thumbnail some of the films that sort of sat with me, and they were really the sort of films that I loved, where it had sort of a strong hero and things like that. When I was younger, this was probably before Blockbuster, but there's someone to look up to and someone to aspire to and things like that. And I don't know, they just kind of worked for me, those films, and I think they what got me hooked, having these heroes that you could rely on, and that's what got me hooked onto the movies, and then start digging into a whole lot more. But it was my obsessive addiction to the movies and finding out I just wanted to get on a film set. And as a job, I always wanted to work sort of behind the scenes on something, but I was based in the middle of England, and this was pre-internet. I had no way of finding out how I could get into something like that or what I could do. And it was a passion that was always with me, but I didn't know how to approach it. And it got to the point that I'd left school and my parents were like, oh, you need to find a job. And you just get knocked into a job at a travel agency, and the Blockbuster thing about, because it was my quickest option to be somewhat movie related, thinking that it might get me some way because I worked at Blockbuster. But yeah, well, that addiction's always been there. I have it.
Well, I worked at the bookshop during the day and then at the video shop at night. That was my... So I also have a love of books, obviously, and that's probably where that comes from to a degree.
The weird thing about the video shop, it never really had any full-timers. It was like part-time mums with kids that were just doing the part-time jobs, or the part-time night work that were for us second jobs.
Oh, most of them didn't care about films in any way, shape or form. It was just that it was a shop that was near where they lived, that they could work part-time in. But like I say, we were a little more obsessive than that.
Absolutely. I'll go a bit further with my story in a moment, but I'm just going to head back to the comments because I'm quite aware that we've probably fallen. Yeah, we've got Jeremy. My family wasn't big on fast forwarding the naughty parts for kids. They were more. They were
Leave
more.
the room now. Yeah, for you to come back in.
Nice. Did you listen in, Jeremy? Did you hear what was happening on screen?
Oh, of course he did.
That's it. Big Jace. I remember going to watch Howard the Duck.
Oh, no, you didn't. No, you didn't.
With my cousin.
No, you didn't. You just
my love of the duck. Very good. Anthony, my earliest memories so far in the cinema: Gremlins, Ghostbusters, and the Goonies. 3 Gs.
Ghostbusters, definitely for me. I remember vividly the very first multiplex that opened near us, which was a Showcase Cinemas, and me and my dad watched a double bill of Scrooged and Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Oh, nice. I think we went to see kids' parties. Well, I remember when kids' parties used to go to the cinema. One of them that I went to was Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Kids' party at the cinema. I remember a kids' party that I went to where the parents had rented Superman 3. And sorry, we've gone a bit further back again, but they rented Superman 3, put it on, and the kids were all like, oh, buffet, and let's do this, let's do that, running around, and I was sat
transfixed by Superman 3, yeah.
And yeah, I was gutted when it was like time for the party to end and the film hadn't ended. I was like, I want to watch the end of it. My parents are there to pick me up, they're like, come on, Philip, let's go, it's time to go. It's like, oh, Superman's fighting this robot.
Yeah, I've just checked the running time. I just need another 42 minutes and I'll be with you.
Yeah.
Dad, please.
The parents didn't care. It was just something to slap on, but I don't think they realised that they had someone that
were there
that was on TV. It's that loner sat over there. He's watching the film. What's that about? Jeremy likes your bobblehead.
Do you mean this one? Or the Bride of Frankenstein one?
Oh, very good.
Oh.
Ridley Cinema. I remember my dad one day pulled us out of school because he didn't want to go to the theatre alone. It was some action cop film. All I remembered was the sex scene. Mum wasn't too happy. Nice. My friend still does that with his kids. He'll pull them out of school to go and watch a movie. I think he did it for latest Avengers. I know that his kids were all had a dentist appointment and they went to see Avengers.
Wow, teachers do it within set days.
Yes. Jeremy, on bobbleheads, I like the way her head bobs. You're still talking about your figure, not you.
Yeah.
Anthony's liking my lighting. I think it's good.
Mine's awful. Mine's all over the place. Oh, that's nice.
Magic lighting. Big Jace. As a kid, my brother dropped me off and picked me up from Star Trek Triple Bill, Khan, Search for Spock, and Voyage Home.
Nice.
I don't remember seeing anything of those ones at the cinema. I think it all started with Undiscovered Country because I remember the VHS release of Voyage Home and going to the video shop for that.
I remember seeing Khan, and I feel like there was some sort of teaser at the end of that for Search for Spock. But I definitely remember getting a pin badge thing from the cinema for Search for Spock. So I definitely saw those.
Nice. Dad likes a bobblehead too. Do you have any NECA Universal monsters?
Now then, what have I got? I've got Bela Lugosi's Dracula, but that's a Royal Bobbles one because I preferred that. I do also have Frankenstein, which is a Necker one, and he stood next to Elsa Lanchester as well. There's quite a few. I don't know if I can. My collection now can sit. I don't know. You probably can't see that because of the lighting, can you? Oh, there we go.
There we go.
So I have a shelf up there, and I have various bobbleheads and a couple of bits and bobs up there, just out the way, but they're on display. And so there's Dracula. There's some Funko sodas. There's Edgar Allan Poe, Patrick Bateman, Batman, Wednesday, Elvira, Michael Myers, Ghostface, Pennywise, and that's Alfred Hitchcock down the end. And I've got a little bit of a Beetlejuice thing as well. So yeah. So my lighting's going to go weird now when I bring this back down, but there we go. Hey, look how bright I am. Me.
I full screened you for that one.
Thanks.
Welcome. Ridley Cinema. In regards to what got me into collecting, it was slow at first, but it was out of that. It was a necessary change I needed. Collecting got me out of being a hermit. I got out and opened myself to the world. Interesting. It's a different view to collecting there, and having a reason to go out and perhaps chat to people. I do like when you find a store when you do have common interest with the people that work there, because HMV used to be good for it. They'd have the staff that were genuinely interested in what you wanted to chat about or what you wanted to ask about as well. And it is generally quite nice going into that shop when you have the right members of staff. It really helps. There we go. Daz, do you remember the smell? Does anyone remember the smell of their local video store?
Smell of it.
Stale popcorn. No, you don't know the smell popcorn.
The one that was next door to the fish and chip shop that we went to was called Cinema One. And my dad used to chat to, God, my dad's featuring a lot tonight. My dad used to chat to the guy that owned it. And he was really, he'd opened that up as an independent because he loved films. And so the second anybody asked about films, that was it. He was like, his eyes lit up, and if it was anyone that had any kind of remote knowledge about films, you could tell he was interested straight away and would happily chat away. But no, I don't know if I remember the smell of it.
Ridley Cinema. I still remember my first two Blu-rays, Predator and Prometheus. Still got my first Blu-ray player, but it's got trouble reading discs. I don't have the hard toss it.
Yeah, I'm a bit like that. I've got two DVD players upstairs that will never get plugged in. One of them I won in a competition. Our friends that used to own Picture Paradise in Lincoln ran a competition, and I won a Pioneer. It was a gold one, but I can't remember what the model.
I remember those. Yeah, I had gold.
That's still sat upstairs. Yeah.
I don't think it was gold. I think it was called champagne.
It probably was champagne. Yes.
Yeah.
Of course it was. Yes.
Just a matter of interest. What did you think to Prometheus, Ridley Cinema? Did you enjoy it? What do you think to the performance of the engineers? Particularly the ones that were had the elephantine masks on.
Particularly the one that was running down the corridor and stumbled because he couldn't properly see where he was running. That one, for example, that performance.
Just wondering. No particular reason.
No.
Oh, while we're talking about it, has anyone seen my IMDb page? Has
anyone seen my IMDb page? Yeah. No.
Yeah.
And don't bother looking at it either.
I was always into special effects and wanted to get into the industry. I was good at art. It was impossible at the time. Now you can do it at college.
Yeah, it's true. I was into art. I did art and design and things like that. And I remember, I said to my careers officer that I wanted to be a stuntman. So, yeah. And he just looked at me, gone out. And it was almost like, stunts. Supermarket checkout. No, stunts. Supermarket. No, he got no idea where to start with something like that. But at the time, I don't think we would have done, because it wasn't like the internet was rife and you could just Google, how do I get into stunts? It wasn't a thing.
I could tell you how to get in sort of 10 years ago or something like that. It's changed a little bit now, but I had no idea previously. And it wasn't until I worked on a film set and spoke to the stunt guys that I actually had a firm idea of how you'd get into it. Years before, no, it's not that it's a closed off industry, but there just wasn't the information out there. Now you can tap and find out the information online, but if you were into anything like that, not in the right area, you hadn't got a chance to find out.
Not a chance.
No.
And as it turns out, most of them are quite sporty, and I wasn't sporty. I was just very good at throwing myself on the ground.
One of the big things that they did want at one point, if you aren't specialist, sort of the highest of the high in a specific field like gymnastics, then one of the, I think it's five things that you have to be able to do. One of them is you have to have a black belt in the martial arts.
Yeah.
And then you can have other skills like horse riding, scuba, and there's a variety of things, but there's so many skills that you need to be able to get onto the stunt register, unless you are super duper special at a particular thing. Some of the guys that I know that are local to us, Glenn, they did free running and parkour and gymnastics, and they're that good at that's what got them in and on the stunt register, and working in an industry was just their absolute experience and expertise in that field. Even though they hadn't got martial arts, they were that good at what they did that they got in there for the stunt register.
I remember not too long after that, I saw a documentary on BBC Two that focused on, it was I can't think what they were called. Were they called Arena or something like that? BBC Two documentaries. Anyway, they focused on a young lad that was trying to get into the stunt industry. I think his name was Paul something. But it was all about his training and things like that. And then he got onto Nightbreed, Clive Barker's Nightbreed. And that was his first role. And that was not long after. And I remember thinking, oh my God, I wish that had come out a little while ago and I'd have known in advance and had more of an idea. But like I say, we didn't have the internet, did we? Back in the 1930s when we were young.
That's it. It's the guys that I knew from Derby. I think it was Damien Walters. I think one of his first things was Hellboy 2 Golden Army or Kick-Ass. And then he built his name from there. And then the guys that worked with him started being introduced. You got James Hill. You got Greg Townley. He's one of the younger stunt guys that they've got. He doubles for Tom Holland a lot now. So he's been Tom Holland's double in Spider-Man and Uncharted and things like that. They're all from Derby. They're all from this area. Yeah,
well, the guy that worked on Kick-Ass, I feel like it's him and somebody else that have bought that empty warehouse down in Derby with the intention of that. I think Matthew Vaughan's pumped some money in and stuff, haven't they? And that's supposedly going to be a studio or something.
Damien Walters and James Hill.
That's it.
I know.
You know.
Yeah. Ridley Cinema, I still remember. I've done that one. I've gone too far back.
Yeah. You wanted to say Prometheus again, that was all.
I did want to say Prometheus again. Daz was always into special effects. I wanted to get into the industry.
Yeah, we've done that one as well.
Yeah. Big taste. I remember seeing the Ghostbusters poster, knowing nothing about the film. The poster sold me on the film. It was just a logo saying, "Coming to save the world."
Yeah.
Classic.
Yeah, I mean, that's when kind of posters were at their peak. I mean, if you think about like the Tim Burton Batman poster that was just literally the Bat logo that was even cropped off either side, it didn't matter. You knew exactly what it was, and that generated so much excitement. Yeah. I queued up the opening day for that so I could get a free T-shirt.
Nice. Jeremy, need a collection tour video. Now, Jeremy, this is something that I was thinking of doing. I was thinking of raiding Glenn's house with him and doing a tour video around his collection. But I've not checked with him yet, but it was just an idea for a future video. But I also want to take him on a shopping video as well. So we'll see about that for the future. At the minute, because the work because at work I'm just struggling a bit to pull it all in and everything. But it's something in the back of my mind. I'm not allowed time off another 2 or 3 weeks, I don't think, because of this course. So I need a day to come and do 1 or 2 of these videos with you.
Okay.
If that's what people want to see, obviously, if they can give it a thumbs down, if they needed to.
They're welcome to, because it means I'll have to clean up.
Yeah, I can film around it.
Oh, okay, that's fine. That's okay.
Yeah. Ace Mac, watching The Vikings and Black Hole on BBC Two.
Were his earliest memories. The Vikings, so the Kirk Douglas and Tony Curtis one. I remember that when I was younger. Yeah.
I remember bits of Black Hole, but I can't remember actually sitting down and watching the whole thing. And
no,
it's not one that I've
read a lot about it.
No. I remember the robot. I remember the robot getting smashed up, and
that hovered. He was red and silver, wasn't he?
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
Did that have Anthony Perkins?
Couldn't tell you. It's a film I know very little about, and I'm sorry to say I've got very little interest in learning much about or watching it.
Harsh.
Yeah, I know it's got its fans, but it never sat well with the bits I caught of it for me. We've got John with us now as well. Hello, John.
Better late than never, John. Don't worry. Is that you with Michael Keaton, by the way? It is, isn't it? Yeah.
Ridley Cinema. Ridley Scott wanted to expand upon the Alien universe and make it bigger than just the Xenomorph. Most fans rejected it. It has moments I like well enough. Scott tried to go against the grain. That was regarding Prometheus.
I remember going to the cinema with you to see that. At which point you kept going, "That's me. That's me."
Yeah.
And that's me. And that was about it.
Yeah. I can see if I can get a picture from him, Prometheus, up on screen in a second.
I mean, please do, especially the one where you sat in the which everybody thinks is a gun, but it isn't, is it? It's like a pilot's seat or something, isn't it?
It's the chair. So
but I say everybody think that's a gun, don't they? But it's not a gun.
No, it's
go full screen, Phil. Go full screen.
That is full screen, man.
No, on the actual on.
Oh right.
On StreamYard.
Let's full screen them. There we go. So that was the engineer's chair.
There's Phil. Look.
Sorry, it's not focusing on very well, is it?
Zoom Phil. Oh.
Don't need photo data, do we? Oh,
we don't.
Lost it, man. There we go. Can you see it?
Yeah, I can see it a little bit. But yeah, people get the vibe. That was so exciting. I remember you sending me that on the day.
Yeah.
It was so cool.
It was rather good. But anyway, sorry, back to discussion now of have my phone out.
Come on, we've got a billion comments.
Have we? Well, okay. Media store, Ridley Scott, Ridley Cinema. Got a media store called FYE near me, and it's really gone downhill. They've downsized and mostly stopped selling all used items. Oh, sugar.
Oh, hello.
Used items, probably overspent on Child's Play 4K, but I don't like to leave empty-handed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, FYE, like I say, I used to really collect Royal Bubbles, but I've got rid of a hell of a lot of them. But they often get like an FYE exclusive. But I didn't actually know what FYE was.
No. Big Jace. How times have changed. Years ago, I'd drive down to a Blockbuster, spend hours walking up and down looking for a film. Now, 30 years later, can't be bothered flicking through my collection when it's upstairs.
Well, mine was upstairs. Like I say, I had this room, which is downstairs, which is my kind of man cave, kind of / office, something or other.
Yeah.
That housed mostly a collection of what turned out to be plastic crap once I'd got it out of boxes and kind of put it on display and things.
Yeah.
And all of my Blu-rays were upstairs on IKEA bookcases. And yeah, I was the same. I couldn't be bothered. Or my other half would say, "Oh, let's watch a film," and I'd go, "Okay, I'll go and pick something," and I'd disappear for like 20 minutes while I was going through all of the shelves. Oh, should I watch that? I don't know whether I'm the right. It was just the moment had gone by the time you got back. So I've condensed down my collection. I just have the one room now, and this is all I've got left: physical media.
Yes.
Right, it makes life a lot easier finding something to watch.
Yeah. Daz is up for the tour video.
2 thumbs up. Just one.
Where is the Phil sizzle reel? I can bring it up. I can show it on screen. I think.
Yeah, you actually can. Yeah.
I think I'll have a look in a second because I'll kind of move on. I'll move on our timeline a little bit because title was how movies changed our life, or changed my life at least, not just from meeting you, doing these YouTube videos or whatever, but because I was so passionate about wanting to get on a movie set, kind of going into how I got into acting. And I wanted to be on a movie set that much that I was watching a documentary about tall people because I'm quite tall. And there's a guy on there that we were watching, and he went for an audition for a management company. And we sat watching him and do this audition for the management company. And I said to my wife, he was shit. I could do better than that. She says, put your money where your mouth is then. So I phoned up the agency, managed to get on the books. And then literally, I think I went to an expo that they did where they did a little show reel, which was absolute nonsense, really. But a few weeks later, I was on the set of Sherlock Holmes' Game of Shadows. And that was my dream. Following this thing, it was my dream to be on a movie set. I was doing acting, but I was there. I was seeing what people were doing. I was getting a feel for it, and it gave me that sort of thing. And I loved it. I loved being on a film set, but I realised I was massively, massively out of my depth. So that's when I thought, you know what, this could be a thing. And I started going to acting classes, and I started doing bits and bobs more, looking for other agents and seeing what else I could do. And it kind of snowballed into a little bit of, at times, a career, I suppose. For some years, it's felt like a proper career when I've had some big, long stretches on things. We went from Sherlock Holmes' Game of Shadows to Jack the Giant Slayer to Prometheus to a bunch of TV adverts, the TV shows, and then it just sort of went on from there. So being a film fan, all through these years, all through this and the other, just my enthusiasm and excitement for films, it just led me down a path where I was able to star in some. So, yeah.
So there, yeah.
So
no, it was such a random dream come true. That just seemed to be not there, and then suddenly it was.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I remember you messaging from Sherlock Holmes, just going, "Oh my god!" And Guy Ritchie said this, and I'm doing this, and I'm a doorman, and it was just, you were kind of giddy a little bit. Yeah.
I was giddy, but
terrified.
Terrified, and I realised this was why I started acting classes. I realised my limitations, that I wasn't that good, and I didn't know what I was doing, and I was out of depth, and I knew I needed to do something about it if I was serious about getting back onto another film set. So yeah, it went on there. Sorry, Glenn, you rattle a second because I'm just trying to log into my account to try and get this video for Mr. Jeremy.
Okay, I'm going to go down a few messages that I can actually see. Daz, The Black Hole, what a film. Maximilian ripping into Anthony Perkins. So, it was Maximilian Schell, wasn't it? Yeah, I remember that now. So should have let, it's a Slipknot fan replying to Ridley Cinema. The studio should have let Ridley complete his vision his way. Some fan complaints should just be ignored. Everybody's got an opinion. That's the trouble. What do they always say? It's like bum holes. Everybody's got one. That's film.
I've got it on now. I've got the show reel.
Okay. Go for it.
Well, I'm not going to go for it. I've got it ready. I've got it queued up. I'm going to see how many likes I can get for it, and comments for if people actually want to see the show reel.
Yeah. So if everybody can comment and say they're not bothered, that'd be great.
Leave me out of the cold. Yeah,
To be honest with you, when you put those dark clouds on, that's kind of how my camera looks. I keep going really bright and then really dark for some reason.
Nice. That's the film, Dad. Is that how far we got on the comments?
Let's go to Dan Lot. Hey guys, I love just sitting back, enjoying the conversation with like-minded people.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's what we want to do on a Sunday evening, don't we? Just chat about films, chat about collecting, just relaxed and chilled, and sharing is caring. There we go. If you're enjoying the stream, there we go. Phil's doing all technical things.
I'm trying to be technical. Was that
right? Okay. Yeah. And that's nice, and that's what this is supposed to be about, isn't it?
Absolutely. Jeremy, what are your favourite food to eat while watching a movie?
I don't like eating food during a film. I don't like being in a cinema while people are eating food. Anything that creates any sort of noise should be banned. End of story.
I like eating.
They just sell things that are really crunchy.
Yeah, they do.
Popcorn. What do you call it? What are they called? Where you put melted cheese and salsa on and all that kind of stuff.
Nachos.
There we go. Just everything crunches. And then when people get to the end of it, I mean, sound like a grumpy old fart. But when people get to the end of the popcorn tub and they're scratching around in the bottom there just to get the last few bits, you just think, oh, just leave it, for God's sake. It's as bad as people talking or looking at their phones.
If I'm in the cinema, I don't tend to overdo it. I tend to just I'm fine with a coffee. I used to be one for either Galaxy Minstrels or peanut M&Ms.
Peanut M&Ms all the way.
Yeah, that's what I tended to gravitate towards. If I'm at home, it can be a variety of things. It's normally something like I'm quite addicted to pretzel flips at the minute. So I've got the gingerbread flavour pretzel flips, which I love. They're gorgeous.
I showed you the other day. I got some cinnamon roll ones, which are the edition. So you've got to get in on them.
Yes.
But literally, if I'm in the cinema and I take anything in with me, like I say, if it's peanut M&Ms or a drink or whatever, I open it all before the film starts, because I don't want to be the guy halfway through making loads of noise and rustling and stuff like that. I find it maybe I'm too self-conscious. Nobody else seems to worry about it, so why am I worrying about it?
Yeah, right. I'm going to set this video, see if I can present it. So we've got comments from Jeremy and Big Jace. It's 2 minutes. I do warn you that it could go on a little while, but
well, it'll go on 2 minutes, won't it?
Yeah, one of them actually includes I too use a deleted scene from the movie. But let's have a look. Now, can we see that on screen? Yeah.
That's still in his vest, look. Which I still feel is completely unnecessary, but there we go.
Have we got sound?
Look, you. Sneer at the Kindle you might. Is ever still your brother?
Can we hear that?
Sounds a little weird, but we can just hear it.
I'm ever still the
This is Northman.
Many would wish to be in your fine shoes.
Like a stallion's cock, even the finest leather shrinks with age. And my shoes no longer fit.
He's just a child! Leave him alone!
The painted face.
Oh no, Sasquatch!
Sassy the Sasquatch.
No, come on.
I'm sorry.
Pentaveret on Netflix.
Bullshit. There's a guy in a suit. That's all that is. Okay, not a man in a suit.
Don't mind Sassy. He's just our guard dog. But
Did
try
enjoy
to
that
escape,
dog.
he's gonna get you. Right, Sassy? Yes.
Comedy show from BBC.
A tenor. Magic.
Mountain Goats.
Lanky John.
One season.
All right, Bill.
All right, Lanky John.
Feeling all right. Just found a tenner.
Who has caused this bump in the night?
Little monsters and what a sight. Halloween,
Their whiskers, wands,
Halloween
horns,
season,
and hats
obviously.
turn all they see to scaredy cats. At Asda, we've everything.
This was touching together for it. What the meaning for it, if you remember rightly, and it was I'd be able to fly out to Belfast for it. But yeah, that was
it.
That was one of them. That's yeah. There's another one on here, and I can't find the creature one that I did. I don't think. Do I want to see the creature one as well or not?
Oh, as in, yeah, I know what you mean. While you're looking for that, oh, you've got it.
I was back to the Pentabric again.
Hey, Jet, come on.
That was in Croatia. Oh, this was a gothic horror tale that I did with quite a low budget thing.
Who has caused this bump in the night? The little monsters. And what a sight. Their whiskers, wands, horns, and hats turn all they see to scaredy cats.
So there's certain things on offer here that normal acting jobs wouldn't see. So they like seeing that you can deal with prosthetics and creature suits and things like that. And pooping on the floor, because not a lot of people can do that on command. But
no, that's true. And you know, that wasn't a special effect either, was it? They asked you to put on the floor and you did it.
He said.
Very brief, and then back to Village in the Woods.
You know, the kind of clip that people's parents used to skip through.
Another low budget one here. This was Cannibals and Carpet Fitters.
Carpet Fitters, yeah.
Which was kind of interesting.
You fucking stink.
And more Pentabric. I think Pentabric was more recent job when I edited down the show. Really. So, Mr. Mike Myers.
I think it was the most recent thing you'd done, wasn't it? So you wanted it kind of front and centre.
Tell you what, though, it's such a treat working with Mike Myers. When the Wayne's World and Austin Powers and things like that. I had moments when he said to me, "Thank you for making it funnier." It was on page. That was probably great. Anyway,
and there we go.
I tore down some of my jobs, but yeah, I remember working with Mike Myers because when we'd finished, came over and shook my hand and said, "Thank you for making it so much funnier in person than it was on the page." And it was just, whether it's sincere or not, it was just nice to hear it from someone you've appreciated over the years.
Yeah, exactly.
It's fantastic. But anyway, sorry, back to the comments again, because
comments.
Yeah, let's talk about me. Anyway,
channel. I did see somebody ask whether we were going to see Long Legs, and that is something that yes, 100% will be going to see Long Legs. Looks amazing. Sounds amazing.
I think it looks great. I really want to see that as well.
Yeah, 100%, Dan. Looks totally my thing. As soon as they said the best serial killer thing since Silence of the Lambs. Silence of the Lambs is one of my favourites of all time. So yeah, I will be there.
Antonino Biello. I like to eat stuff before the movie starts too. I agree. I used to go through a period of trying to scoff all my chocolates or bag of something before, just through the trailers and adverts. I'd be like ramming it in my mouth. Movies on, I'm done.
I'll often eat kind of properly before I go to the cinema, so I don't feel the need to kind of graze while I'm in there.
Yeah, I just thought I've put my show reel on. I don't know if I'm going to get collared for that now because the BBC can be quite strict with what's shown, so I might get a copyright strike. Damn it! Never mind. Anyway,
it's out there now.
Pineapple Bowtie Productions. Last time I was in the cinema, it was Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Big popcorn bucket, big Coke, but the couple next to me thought we were an X-rated movie. That's much more annoying.
Oh, okay. What, they were getting it on during
like
the film? I mean, you know, whatever floats your boat. You know, some people are excited by chimpanzees. It's just how it is.
Excuse me.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yes.
Have a drink, man. What's wrong with you?
I'm out.
Oh, okay.
Slipknot fan. Awesome show reel. Thank you, Slipknot fan. Darren McCarr. Brilliant. Daz. I knew I'd seen you somewhere before, Phil. When I first came across the channel, now you've settled my mind. Which TV show or program, Daz?
Well, it was there or Crime Watch, wasn't it?
Crime Watch.
You know, when you robbed that jeweller's.
Yeah, that's why I've grown my hair out.
Yeah.
Ridley Cinema. I'm surprised they didn't get you to fight John Wick. I didn't realise how physically imposing you were.
He's not.
There's a couple of. I'm obviously I'm quite tall, 7 feet tall, but there are a couple of other guys that are also tall, and they're guys that they're a lot wider, they're a lot bigger, so they're more cartoonish looking for some of the fight sequences and things like that, because they have that width and that build. They look a lot more suited for that film. So whereas I got to do The Northman, they're probably doing things where the look of the bodybuilder type.
They're doing John Wick. They're doing Furiosa, for example, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Nathan, someone on Furiosa, I think, or he was in Mad Max film. So it depends on the film and the type of role, but the juiced up guys tend to get a lot more roles because of that specific look. Yeah. Slipknot fan. Phil should definitely work with Guillermo del Toro. I think I should too. That would be a dream for a Del Toro movie. That'd be fantastic. The only problem is I'm probably carrying a bit too much weight around the middle at the moment for the creature work, or it's a lot more difficult once you're carrying a few extra pounds. But that's easily lost. Well, not easily, but
no, I was going to say easily. Yeah,
I can lose it quickly if I need to. Give me a few weeks and I'll shift the stone. Just go, keto, and there are ways. John Robinson, well done. Jeremy Carr, fantastic. Thank you. Slipknot fan, which running engineer was Phil? Don't know exactly. There were two of us that did the running, and it was motion capture, so there's potential that it could be taken from one scene into another and switched around or duplicated. So visual effects after the job. I couldn't tell you which one was me, to be honest. Anthony, I think you might have seen my IMDb or is going from the clips on there. Interesting bio. Jeremy, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, hit the notification button, and Patreon. Thank you, Jeremy. Are you on Patreon, Jeremy? Are you? I do want to start giving away things on my Patreon, but I want there to be enough people on there that I can actually afford to buy things to do giveaways and have chats and things on there. But it's just a bit slow going for me at the minute. So any giveaways are a bit slow to start up at the moment. I'm not allowed to go out of pot, apparently. So if you want to join Patreon, there's a barcode just there. You can head over to Patreon and find Phil with a double L, or you can check the links below and find it on there. So that's enough Patreon. Ridley Cinema. What is a food that makes no sense at all to eat in a cinema?
Spaghetti bolognese. don't think that's an option, but it would make no sense. I don't know, really. I do love a hot dog at the cinema, I have to say. Not anymore, because you need to remortgage your house to buy one. So colossally priced.
I've not eaten anything like that in the cinema for a long, long time.
I get it. I mean, they make most of their money from confectionery and the food and all that kind of stuff, don't they? So food and drink and things. They make very little from the actual films themselves.
Absolutely. John Robinson, I remember when you would have an intermission halfway between the film and have food then. I think
it was quite nice to have a toilet break, wasn't it? Without feeling like you were going to miss any of the film.
Yeah.
But I have to say, if the film's good enough, I don't go to the toilet anyway. I don't think I even think about it. If the film's kind of mediocre, I think, this looks like a quiet bit, I'll nip out now. Because as we get older, these things are things you have to think about.
Yeah. Speaking of food, we're very foodie at the minute. What foods in movies did you want to try in real life?
The stuff.
Oh, what?
The Stuff. Do you remember the horror movie, The Stuff?
I thought you were going to say the octopus and Old Boy.
Oh God, no. No.
What about the is it Cubano sandwich that they made in Chef? That Jon Favreau was cooking up on a dirty street food van.
That's got to be done.
I love dirty street food anyway, so anything like that, it's like, yeah, I'll try that. Made with passion. Let's go. Street food.
Ridley Cinema soup. That'd be really
practical.
If you had in a cup of soup, in a little flask. Yeah,
because I did think soup, and then I thought, actually, if you had a cup of soup in
that
there,
would be practical. Yeah. Well, I'm going to the cinema tomorrow, so I might take some soup with me.
Have a nice oxtail.
I will be seeing Maxine tomorrow, which I'm thoroughly looking forward to.
Oxtail.
Yeah.
Dad's food costs in cinema is criminal.
It is. It really is. But like I say, that's kind of where they make their money. They make such a minimal amount off the films.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Where are you looking for, Glenn? It's catheter.
That's the way forward. Little bag on the ankle.
Oh, Slipknot fan. Big Kahuna burger in Pulp Fiction.
Ah, yeah.
I heard they do a tasty burger.
It's true. That is a tasty burger.
The instant roast chicken from The Fifth Element.
I
can't remember that.
I remember that. Yeah. Went in the thing and it was job done, wasn't it? Within like seconds.
Yeah. I want to know, Glenn. Obviously, I titled this video about what did I say? Did movies change our lives? I think
second time you've had to check.
I think, I couldn't quite remember, but I think I've more or less covered it for me, and it's quite a clear yes, they changed my life because of my passion for the movies and the behind the scenes. It changed completely what I did, and perhaps my view wasn't acting initially, but it's something that I've loved that I would never have done if it wasn't for my movie fandom. Do you feel like it's changed your life at all? Sorry, I'm just coming back round so that we can live up to the title that I put out there.
What, you working in films, has it changed my life?
No. Just your love of films, has it?
I think to a degree, which is probably going to sound depressing. I don't mean it to at all, but I was an only child, and you find your own entertainment, and I think that's in TV shows and films and books, and I've always been. Well, I still build things, and I like to write, and I still draw and things like that. I like creative stuff. I think films to a degree are. It's nice just sitting back and just being transported into another world, and I think it certainly inspired me art-wise and things like that. When I was at college, a lot of my art projects were, you know, I did a big one on The Crow. I made my own standees and all sorts of various different things as part of a project. It's always been a part of my life. It's always been something that I love. It was always interesting, you know, whenever you were on a film set and what have you, because as I said last week, we message every day, and I've kind of lived it through you to a degree. Don't want to mention that you did a film and I did a little bit part in it and stuff, and that was fun as well. So we share that as well. But it's just, films have always been a thing, you know. I look around now and most of the things in this room are, you know, James Bond related. I've got a stack of books down there. They're all making of various different films, whether that's Batman or the Nightmare on Elm Street things. There's Alfred Hitchcock down there. It's just, I love it.
Yeah.
Have done. Always have done.
Me too. I remember, because I message you obviously a lot when I'm on set. I remember doing videos to send home, and I think I sent you some as well from when I was filming on Frankenstein Chronicles. I think I've still got them on a hard drive. I didn't know whether to have a dig through and see what video remains and do a little video diary from my time working on the Frankenstein Chronicles. What do you think to that?
Yeah.
You're not interested, are you?
I am interested. What I feel like you need to do is a bigger cup of coffee next time.
Yeah.
Rather than coughing and spluttering your way through it all.
Definitely.
But no, you've sent me various pictures and what have you. On the Northman, you travelled out somewhere and there's a picture of Anya Taylor-Joy sat on a grassy mound, like waving back at you and things like that. And it's just really weird, surreal little things like that, you know, when we first started hanging out, you'd have never dreamt those kinds of things would happen at all.
No.
It's quite surreal, but it adds to it all. It's just a world we love, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I remember way back when I very first started going to that expo at Willow, and after that, it was my first. I didn't know what it was at the time, but they sent me for a fitting for Harry Potter with Willow. Harry Potter had finished, it had wrapped, and they were doing some reshoots, and they invited me down for a fitting. I went down not knowing what I was getting into, and I was just happy to have been to that set, to have seen bits of the set that I'd not seen before. I didn't particularly meet anyone behind the scenes apart from the people at the fitting, but I saw a film set. I was happy at that, and then it sort of grew from there to something that I never expected. And
I've got really bright.
Well, that fitting for Harry Potter, it was for they needed a stand-in for Hagrid, and the guy that normally did it, they couldn't get hold of him, so they needed someone else to fit in his costume, and I was too big for it. My head was too big to fit in the thing. My feet were too big for their footwear, so I was a bit gutted at the time, but I was just happy to have been to a set to see that Hollywood magic, and felt like I was part of something really.
Your head was too big. That says it all, really.
I think the guy in the suit was only about 6'9" or something like that. So.
Oh yeah, dwarf in comparison. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the amazing thing is, as well, that I've had 3 agencies, and 2 out of the 3 for my managers and agencies have been run by guys with dwarfism. So there's me 7 foot tall, and my agents have dwarfism, and are tiny next to me as well. And for the first few roles that I had, I was very much surrounded by short people, and it was like some kind of visual joke a lot of the time that, we've got a short guy, let's have a really tall guy and show that difference.
That was it on Sherlock Holmes, wasn't it?
That was
you and somebody else were doormen. Yeah. Who stopped them? I mean, you know, it never saw the light of day, did it? It didn't end up on deleted scenes. And at the time, I remember saying, even if nothing else comes of it, what an experience to have kind of done that, let alone anything else. But then the rest just started coming in.
Then I'll carry on.
Yep.
Yes. Anyway, I'm going to move off topic. Have you made any pickups or seen anything decent recently?
I have. What have I watched this week? I've watched The First Omen. I enjoyed that. What's her name? Nell Tiger Free. She's very good in that. I've also watched Baghead on Netflix. Last night we watched Immaculate, which was very good. Off the back of last week's live stream, I may have gone a little bit crazy and ordered some soundtracks. And when I say I may have ordered some soundtracks, I ordered quite a few soundtracks. I was very swept away by it all while we were talking about it. So I did actually go out and buy loads. Do you want me to scroll through very quickly what I have, or
no?
No. Okay, I'll put them back.
You can go through.
No,
it's your time, man. It's your time.
No, we've got lots of comments. Come on, let's go through some comments.
No, you carry on. Go through your CDs.
Oh,
you spent all that money on them.
Empire Records.
I've got that.
Natural Born Killers.
Got it.
Boogie Nights.
Got it. No, I haven't really.
Fight Club.
Need it.
Thomas Crown Affair.
Need it.
Blade.
Don't want it.
That was because somebody mentioned it on the live stream last week. Out of Sight.
Oh, I need it.
Yeah. Run, Lola Run.
Nice.
Great film. So many songs on this that I used to love. Dumb and Dumber soundtrack. Couple of classics. Lost Boys. Roadhouse.
Nice.
And this one I particularly like. So this randomly was like £2.48 or something daft. It's called Soundtrack. It's a double disc thing. I'm just going to run down some of the films. Pulp Fiction, Reservoir Dogs, Get Carter, Midnight Cowboy, About a Boy, Jackie Brown, MASH, Deer Hunter, Lost in Translation, Carlito's Way, Dead Presidents, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, Ocean's 11, Ipcris File, High Fidelity, Easy Rider, Donnie Darko, Magnolia, Twin Peaks, Shaft, Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels, Pretty in Pink. There's so much good stuff on there. And it was £2.48. It's ridiculous. So yes, there we go. I have completed my piles.
Yeah, very good, very good.
Yes. Go to comments. Come on.
Go to comments. There we go. We're going to go Ridley Cinema. I built my home. I built my own home theatre because I was sick and tired of the downside. So charge an admission for friends. I like not being in federal prison.
That's fair enough. You'd only get done if they grassed on you.
Yes. Ridley Cinema again. My next watch is Dark Crimes, a crime drama with Jim Carrey. Definitely an interesting role for him.
I feel like that was on Netflix for quite a while, wasn't it?
No idea. Jeremy, Code Shivers High.
Yeah.
All-time classic on Empire Records. Absolutely is. Slipknot fan that mentioned the Blade soundtrack had that exact CD with that red sticker on it.
Well, thank you, Slipknot fan. Off the back of you mentioning it, that is why it got purchased.
It's like we're feeding your addiction to buying.
Yeah. Well, I got all of them for, I think it was ended up only being about 20 quid. So, yeah. So that one, is that what we're talking about? I mean, it's quite a lot of rap and hippity hop on the back of there. So one will have to get down with the kids to listen to that, but one will do so.
Yeah.
Very bright again. I need to sort my light out.
While we've got you, before we sign off, I watched Axel F last night.
I watched that earlier in the week. I
mean, because we've gone from talking soundtracks, I thought, you know what, I'm going to mention Axel F, because I can't believe how many songs from the original they had to pinch for that movie. Well, not had to pinch, but had to pay for probably again. It's literally the whole Beverly Hills Cop soundtrack was lifted and plugged onto Axel F just so they could hit those nostalgia buttons.
Yeah. I feel like the whole, I mean, we talked about this earlier, didn't we? You didn't mind it. I thought it was kind of mediocre at best, if I'm honest. It felt, as I do, the bits where I thought, oh, I'm actually enjoying this, were actually throwbacks to the original.
Yeah.
At which point I kind of felt like, I should just be rewatching the original rather than this. And you almost, to make it a worthwhile film, it should have created new moments like that made you feel that way, but it didn't. Everything, it felt probably 10 years too late to come up with it. Everybody looked bloated or half dead, really. So it was okay, but
I was fine with it. It was an easy watch for me. Hit those nostalgia buttons. I was good with it because my brain, like I say, with this course and what's happening at work, my brain capacity is pretty much out the window. So it just fit in quite well. And I liked Levitt's character. I thought it was quite good. If he came back for another one, I'd be fine with that. Didn't do a lot. Didn't learn a lot about him, but I just liked that he was walking around being a crack shot and picking people off with like 1 or 2 shots, just like that. I miss that in movies. Heroes that crack shots.
I felt like it started well and it kind of started to sweep you up again, but it was almost like a throwback to the original.
Yeah.
And then I just kind of felt like the story was really flat. The script was pretty terrible. And then it started to peak again, but it was, you know, when they're in that mansion, I'm not giving away spoilers if people haven't watched it. They're in that mansion near the end. And it reminded you of when he goes to Victor Maitland's property at the end of the original. And it was that. And I was like, oh, I'm suddenly enjoying this again. But then I thought, no, I'm enjoying it because it's a reference to the original. I'm not enjoying it because it's something exciting in this new film, which it should have been. But anyway, that's my review.
Very good.
What film are they chatting about? Robert, we are chatting about Beverly Hills Cop Axel F.
Yes.
That's what we're banging on about.
I'm going to quickly jump back to the comments regarding soundtracks. John Robinson, I got the Scream 3 CD with the lenticular cover after you mentioned it, Glenn.
It's nice that we're feeding each other's addictions. This is good.
It's almost like I'm going to have to do another video about this.
Yeah.
Slipknot fan, Run Lola Run is really good. The actress Franca Potente is in one of the Jason Bourne movies. The first one.
She's in a couple, isn't she? She's in the first, and then
spoilers.
Well, they end up as a couple, don't they? But then she's in the next one, but again, spoilers, not for very long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm assuming Joe is talking Scream 3. It's better than the third movie.
I think he's probably on about Beverly Hills Cop.
Yeah. Charlie 85, the Cable Guy soundtrack is underrated.
The Cable Guy movie is underrated.
Yeah.
It really is. People didn't take to it because it was kind of a bit more dark humor than, obviously, Carey had done Ace Ventura and Dumb and Dumber at that point. Then came out with the Cable Guy, and it's a little darker. It's a little, maybe weirder, not so in your face humor. And it didn't do great, did it? And it really should have done. It's a great film.
Broderick was good in that as well.
Yeah.
He's done some good turns in some cracking movies that have flown under the radar as well. Election, I thought was really good in.
I quite enjoyed the remake of The Producers.
Yeah.
Where it was him, Nathan Lane, and Uma Thurman. I thought that was enjoyable.
And Godzilla. I'm joking about that one. I don't really know, really. I don't know if anyone came out of Godzilla unscathed. But, yes. Charlie 85, I saw Cable Guy in this cinema, and I was the only one who loved it.
No, you're not on your own anymore, Charlie 85.
No, I remember that.
You have
Seen
others.
Great films on my own in the cinema, just with no other audience. I think Grosse Point Blank, I think there was me and one other person in the screen. Anaconda, I think there was me and
Anaconda with the
Backwards Waterfall.
The backwards waterfall. That always stays.
Did I see that with you?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, empty cinema apart from us watching Anaconda.
Yeah. And we both kind of literally before. Obviously, now it's quite a well-known thing about the reverse waterfall, but we both noticed it at the time that it was just a shot from earlier on where the boat was coming in, and they thought, we've not filmed the boat coming back out. I will just rewind that shot, and all the water's going backwards up the waterfall. We both looked at each other like, that really happened, didn't it? Honestly did.
Yeah. I saw that. I'm trying to think of the others that I've seen that have just had literally an empty screen. And so I know Grosse Point Blank was, because did you see that at the cinema?
I don't think I did.
No. I felt like
I think it was
DVD.
DVD.
Another that was empty. Another that was absolutely empty. They did a National Cinema Day very, very early on when they were doing this, and it was like £1 a movie or something, but they had some random films on early times in the day, and I went to see 6 Days, 7 Nights, the Harrison Ford and Hesh one, really early in the morning on a Sunday for like £1. And I think it was like three or so weeks before the official release that I saw it, and it was on there, and it had no advertising, didn't know anything about it, and I was literally the only person in there for it at the time. See why now, obviously, but
yeah, it's a really enjoyable film, isn't it?
I think it's all right. Yeah, I think it's because it had no awareness and no advertisements. I sat pretty much on my own.
Randomly popped in my head another film that I don't think gets enough love, which actually should do, is Night and Day. Tom Cruise and Cameron Diaz.
Yeah,
thoroughly entertaining, really funny, really action packed. Speeds along at a real great pace. It's a really good film. More people should watch it and love it.
It was one that kind of, on the first viewing, I was fine with it. I wasn't either way, but then I caught another viewing later, and not that it changed my opinion, but I realised what a solid movie it was and how enjoyable it was. I don't know if my expectations were a bit wrong when I went into it, thinking more Mission Impossible, but yeah, it worked for me. Yes. Anyway, back to comments, and then I think we're going to end it there, and then we'll get back to this sort of chatter next time we'll come on as well. Just the random movie nonsense.
Yeah.
Yeah, Slipknot fan. Didn't like Cable Guy the first time I saw it, but I appreciate how brilliant it is.
It is totally underrated.
Yes. Big Jace has got Kino's release of Man on the Moon. Daz, I took my kids to see Mouse Hunt in the late 90s. There was about 6 people in there, and it was a great film.
Love Mouse Hunt. It really is. Yeah. I mean, that the Christopher Walken cameo alone should be enough for people to watch the whole film. But Lee Evans and Nathan Lane just work so well together. It's really good. Really good film.
Yeah. Robert, have you seen My Name is Bruce? Stars Bruce Campbell playing an obnoxious parody character of himself.
Robert, I have it on my shelf behind me. I'm just reversing. There we go. It is with my Evil Dead collection. Oh. It's there. My name is Bruce. Oh, it's very bright. It's very bright. But there we go. That's better. It's actually next to
Bubba Hotep.
Yeah, which I still haven't watched.
What?
Oh no.
Oh my
God, what is wrong with my lighting today? This is ridiculous. Look, oh my God. There we go. I can only show it at that angle. But yeah, I've never got round to it.
Jeremy would like to know who would win in a fight, Phil or Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise.
I think Tom Cruise, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I can get to
Phil's tall, but other than being tall, there's not a lot there. There really isn't.
I think if I got a hit in, I'd be more like, oh, so sorry, are you okay? And then they'd come back with like 20 punches and just like clean me out.
Yeah.
John Robinson, because Bubba Hotep is not good.
Yeah. Okay then. In that case, John,
Jeremy in with the support. Thank you very much again, Jeremy. That is very much appreciated. Slipknot fan. Oh, Slipknot fan. Do you guys know a movie called Killers, 1996? I haven't watched the movie yet, but the trailer is awesome. Killers. I'm going to have to have a look at that up.
That's 1996.
I don't know why, but I've got in my head Ashton Kutcher. Is that a different movie? I'm assuming it's a different movie. I don't know if.
Yeah, that was the Katherine Heigl thing, wasn't it? That wasn't 96, was it?
2010. That was.
Oh, okay.
Well, it was called Killers, and yeah, Katherine Heigl, Ashton Kutcher. Kutcher. 96, did we say?
Yeah. What's the
I've not seen that one. It looks different.
Oh, right, okay.
This one,
nah, the picture that's on there for the play trailer thing, yeah, that one.
Mike Mendez. Where do I know that name from? Mike Mendez.
Don't know, that picture that's on there, I remember that from I feel like it was on the cover of Gore Zone once.
Mike Mendez. Oh, Tales of Halloween.
Yeah. 5.3 out of 10.
Yeah. I knew his name. I knew his name. But anyway. Yeah. Phil has reach and could toss him, I think.
I mean, Phil could probably just stride over him every time he tried to go after him, but...
Yeah. You've got to get Bad Raven on here just to make people think they're seeing double.
Thank you.
Idle Hands was 1994. I'm going to have to check that now. That's a very quick
94?
Let's have
I'm going to say 95.
It was 99.
Really?
Apparently so.
Wow.
Thought it was earlier than that. Anyway, right. I'm going to tidy. I'm going to close up the stream now. But
and what a really random stream it was too.
It was. I apologise for randomness. I didn't have any slides, but we kept it going without slides.
Yeah, a collection of things.
Do we always need slides?
I don't think you always need slides.
No.
All we need is these lovely people making comments, and we just run with that. And as long as you've got your special effects, look, that's all that matters.
I can do it all. I can do it all.
How come your thumbs up came up without doing a thumbs up? Oh, you've got
learning. I'm learning.
Okay.
Ridley Cinema wants to know, do we subscribe to Glenn? No.
Do we? No. I'm not a YouTuber. I am just a friend of Phil that joins him and chats, and that's it. Yeah. I'm not a YouTuber.
Jeremy's asking about when Howard the Duck stream is. Jeremy?
Just never.
I really don't know at the minute.
Can we go with never?
We've been talking about trying.
Jeremy, never. Never.
I might still do it, Jeremy, if I can prepare.
No, never. No.
My problem at the moment is time with work, and I want to be, if I'm doing a live stream, I want to be a little bit researched with it and have things to say. I'm not familiar enough with Howard the Duck to be able to say things without.
I can't believe we're talking about it.
Yeah, but me and Glenn were talking about live streams, and we thought about doing a watch along for something that we do know and we are familiar with first, so we can get a feel of how we can do the watch alongs and things like that. So
a film that we both love, that we have watched a zillion times.
Yeah, so
that doesn't have a duck in it.
No, but anyway, thank you all for joining us. I hope you've enjoyed the stream again, and thank you for sticking through us for 1 hour 40 minutes. I hope to see you all again next time. Until then, peace. Take care.
Bye,
oh, we're not gone yet.
It's still here. Can't get rid of it that easy.